All right, hey. So we're going to start out today with a little bit of leave it work. So what that's going to look like is I'm going to go ahead and put some treats in my hand. I'm going to close my hand. When she stops trying to mug my hand for treats, I will open it, and then she gets a treat. So you'll see what that looks like here. So I've just got hot dog string cheese here. So the goal here is I have to keep my hand open without her diving back in for more treats. If she doesn't dive back in, then I'll give her one. This is teaching her impulse control. It's also an introduction to the cue leave it, which is going to help with that bark, hopefully. She's actually being really polite here. So she's just licking, she's pawing, she's being really gentle. This lying down is something we love to see. So it looks a little bit like torture, but as she gets better at it, you'll see, her tail is still wagging. Good girl. Oh, she missed it. She's very gentle with her treats. Good girl. And I'm not just letting her dive into my hand. To take all of those treats, I want her to wait long enough that I'm able to give it to her. Good girl. I'm just going to move my cursor so that I can keep watching myself, make sure we stay in frame. There we go. So this is a really basic exercise that I want you guys to try to do with her daily. She's going to get really, really good at it really fast, though. That's the beauty of puppy training. She's just a little sponge right now. And the nice thing is, because I'm doing this day training, good girl, I kind of do the hard bit. And then as she's more familiar with the exercises, you guys get to do it. And we're just making this a little harder. She has to keep her nose out of my hand for a little bit longer before I give it to her again. We'll just do this for a little bit longer. And we'll do this a couple times throughout the day. So over the course of this hour, we're going to kind of bounce back and forth between 3 or 4 different skills so she doesn't get too bored. And we'll take a break or two outside because we don't want to fill her up with treats and then have her have an accident. Good girl. And if you guys have any questions about why or how we're doing anything, feel free to email me, because I know it's hard because you guys can't ask me questions live right now. Good girl. Good job. So you can see she's really getting a lot better at this. She's not trying as hard because she's learning that actually waiting and not pawing at me, not licking at me is how she's going to get what she wants. Good girl. So this is also kind of an impulse control game that is going to help with mouthiness because she's learning that she gets what she wants not by biting hands, but by doing what we want to. Okay, you can still see her. Cool. So that's enough of that. That's a really hard exercise, so we don't want to do it for super long. Next, we talked a little bit about clicker training. This is a clicker. All it does is it makes a really loud sound. I'm sorry, that's going to be really loud on the audio. But I left one for you guys. Actually, we'll use the one that I left for you guys just so you've got the same one. And the one I left for you guys is a little quieter. It's just the one that I've got in the house. I've got spares. All right. And yeah, so she's jumping on me. She's mugging me a little bit, so I'm just going to stand up. All right, so here's the other one. Drop it. Good girl. All right, so she's stealing my stuff, but she gave it back, so she gets cookie. All right, so this is a clicker. Makes a quieter sound. So all we're doing with this, the goal of this is to teach her that this means a treat is on its way. So I'm just going to do a little bit of that with her right off the bat, and then we can use this to actually teach her some stuff. So you can read up on clicker training on your own. The nice thing is clicker training is really meant for using to teach a dog a new skill. So if you guys don't want to use it, you don't necessarily have to right now, because in theory I'm teaching her everything right now. So I've got treats in one hand. I've got the treats and the clicker in one hand. What I'm going to do, wait for her to sit, click, and then give a treat. And all she's learning right now is that that click means the treat is on its way. If she does anything I don't want, I'm not going to click, so we're going to wait for her to back off, sit, do something other than standing on me and licking me, even though she's being pretty polite. So I'm not asking her to do anything right now. I'm just waiting for her to do something that I like. I'm going to toss that treat to get her to stand up so she can sit down again. This is also the start of an exercise called sit to say please, which just means she's learning to sit in order to get whatever it is that she wants in life. And if you guys want to do hot dogs or something like that for treats, I would just recommend chopping them up nice and tiny. These guys are like smaller than a pea, especially for a little girl like her. So right now, all we're doing, again, is teaching her that that click means a treat is coming. And we're just kind of clicking for anything she's doing that's nice. And right now she's being very polite. She's just lying down. You can't really see her. She's not totally in frame. But she's being very, very polite. There you go. Good job. Good girl. So the nice thing about the clicker, as opposed to saying something like good girl, good job, good boy, whatever, good dog, is that it's really precise. It's going to sound the same every time you use it, and it's going to sound the same no matter who's using it. So that's why I like it. It's also something you can, it's sharp, it's precise. The downside is if you're not super savvy, it's really easy to be late with it. The timing is really important. Yeah, it's easy to be late. And if you're trying to do it on walks, until you get really good at it, it's hard to man like the treat pouch and the clicker and the leash and the dog, and there's a lot going on. So if you don't want to use a clicker, that's totally fine. Everywhere where I click, just pick a specific word. I usually use good or yes. You guys can decide between the two of you what you want to use. Whatever that word is, just let me know, and instead of using a clicker, I can switch over to that if you don't want to use the clicker. So now I'm going to just teach her a super basic behavior. This is called hand targeting. And this behavior pretty much just means every time I put out my hand like this, so like a little gun, she's going to slam her nose into my hand. We can use that later for a bunch of other things. It's also just a really basic behavior that's really good for her to learn the clicker and kind of get better at training, because this is just as hard for her as it is for you guys when you're first learning. We're going to start off super easy. Most dogs automatically are going to try to touch your hand when you put it out. And I'm just going to put my hand right in front of her face for her. And this is also hard for her because she's having to ignore the hand with the treats, which I'm making it easier because I'm keeping my hand behind my back. Keep my computer from going to sleep. All right. And I'm just going to start putting the treats on the ground for her so that she's not as quick to bug my hands. Again, not that she's being rude or painful, it's just a habit. I like using this target behavior for a lot of different things. I use it to move my dog around the house. It also is a really nice, precise variation of come when called, because your dog actually has to touch his nose to your hand. You also can kind of use it as a backup to come when called. So say you're yelling come, you're yelling come, you're yelling come, and your dog is not coming. There you go, good job. Then you can use this target behavior as kind of a backup. So notice I'm not saying anything just yet, because saying it doesn't mean anything to her yet. I want her to be really confident with moving towards my hand before I start adding in a word. So she's starting to take steps, which is really great. Oh, bit of hesitation. She doesn't quite, a little confused. It's so hard. I'll take my hand away, put it back out. She's sniffing her own butt. Good job. So she didn't totally hit my hand there, but I don't want her to get bored or frustrated, so we're just going to make it a little easier. So now I'm going to introduce in the word. So the nice thing is I'm introducing the word for you guys. You don't have to worry about it. So as I put out my hand, I'm going to say the word. And then when she slams her nose into my hand, I'm going to click and then give her a treat. So ready? Touch. I use the word touch. You guys can change it if you need. Touch. Touch. Good girl. I use the word boop with my dog because it's cute, but touch is kind of the standard. Touch. Good girl. Touch. She's learned to watch the clicker hand to see what's happening there, but she didn't do it, so no clicks. Good girl. And it's okay to be patient, and I'm just waiting. All she's learning is if she doesn't do what I want, nothing happens, and that's fine. She doesn't have, I don't have to tell her no. It's kind of like if you were doing a crossword puzzle and every time you put the wrong letter in, it like buzzed at you. It'd be really frustrating, so she'll just kind of figure it out by a lack of reward. Touch. Sometimes you can help them along by looking at what you want them to do. So I'm looking at my hand and seeing if she'll follow my gaze. Most dogs do that instinctively. Or I guess all dogs, supposedly. I haven't read the study, but supposedly they do. Touch. Good girl. Touch. So I'm starting to play around a little bit too with touch. She has to take steps. I'm moving my hand up. I'm moving my hand down. She has to get better at it. All right, so we're going to go outside and take a little break because that's about 15 minutes of training. I will pause this video so she and I can go outside. We'll do some potty, just make sure that she's good to go, and take a little mental break for her because, you know, she's only, 12 weeks old. She can't think for all that long, so we'll be right back.